So what can I say to you? When I'm off that, had to fall back. You got everybody thinking I'm all bad. You know the truth. I was always holding you down. You down. Baby. Ain't what it seems for this girl. What is love? What is love? You believe in it for two.
Yo, what it do, man? This is your boy North End Floyd, man, and this is EP 207. And I have a very important, I feel important figure in Southeast Texas community. He's been vocal on a lot of issues. Got my boy Joseph Trahan on the show. What's good, man?
Doing very well. Impressive studio.
Man, appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming too, man. You was early and everything.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, we was talking before the show, man, and like I said, man, shout out to your dad. I know your dad, man. And to be honest with you, I don't think your dad know this though, but he gave me like a ticket a long time ago.
Oh well, hopefully. I hope that thanks me.
Yeah, man. Shout out to your dad. But man, how you been though?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Just been keeping busy between work, politics, and family. It's a full schedule.
Okay, all right, that's what's up, man. Why don't you let the people know who you are though?
Sure. Well, as was stated, my name is Joseph Trahan, born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. I currently serve as chairman of the Jefferson County Democratic Party. In that capacity, I'm responsible for championing our local elected officials who are elected under our umbrella, as well as candidates, raising funds, keeping the community informed on what's taking place not only across the country, but our state and county. It's a very enjoyable experience. It has been an enjoyable experience, and it's a pleasure to serve.
That's what's up, man. Let me get you speak to lift the mic up a little bit, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And stuff like how did you know that you was like when did you first fall in love with politics?
It's something that's been ingrained in my DNA since birth. I come from a family that has been deeply involved in civic as well as city life.
Mhm.
On both sides of my family. On my mother's side of the family, my grandparents, Ed and Faye Woodsmall, were both longstanding leaders of the Beaumont Police Department. Ed was a captain. Faye was a sergeant. In fact, she was Beaumont's first female hired as a police officer in 1976. Then you have my mother, who her name's Fonda. She worked as a dispatcher for a few years at the police department.
Okay.
And then went into public education. You have, on my dad's side, of course, my grandfather was Howard Trahan Jr.,
Mhm.
a longstanding figure in the civil rights history of Beaumont, as well as a longtime trustee on the Beaumont Independent School District Board. He's deceased, but his impact was significant. And then, of course, my dad being a longtime police officer with 31 years at the Beaumont Police Department as a sergeant.
Mhm.
So collectively on both sides, there has been this political bug, if you will, that bit me very early. So I've always had an interest. It just, as I've gotten older, I've come into my own, have my own views, and have decided to take an active role in my community.
I know with your grandfather, was that a little pressure kind of living up to that legacy that he left behind?
Absolutely.
Mm.
I don't know how he had enough time in a day
Mhm.
to do and be involved as much as he was, not only on the school board, but advocating for equality and equity at the city with city hiring, as well as the school district, his involvement, Knights of Peter Claver, the Rotary, Melton YMCA. I mean, you name it, he was involved with
Mhm.
for years. And I just, on top of having children and a wife, it really makes you wonder.
They're naming a facility after him, are they?
That's correct.
Mhm.
They have broken ground on a state-of-the-art transportation complex
Okay.
in Beaumont on what used to be what was the name of that? She was a famous golfer.
Oh,
Babes
Base of Harris.
where
Yeah,
Babes
for
the
sure.
Harriet Stadium was.
Yeah.
That's where they are constructing the new facility that's going to streamline processes, bring in, it's going to be a multi-million-dollar project. They're going to
Mhm.
bring in the administrative staff. They're going to bring in individuals that can help with repairs on district vehicles. It's looking at about 110, 120 staff facility.
Oh, okay. You talking about where they have like the BISD bus barn was?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
they're redoing that, or they're gonna build
They,
like a.
they have they're building a whole new facility
Mhm.
right there off I-10.
Okay, all right, man. Somebody saying your mic not working. Let me get you speaking to it.
Hello, testing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess they can't. I guess they can't hear you. I don't know. I think we fixed that when you started talking into it
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff like that. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I wish that stadium was still, you know, what I'm saying we still had the Central High Stadium. What high school you went to?
I actually went to Hampshire Finette.
Okay.
My mother was an educator there. My aunt was a longtime counselor, and so the children of district staff, whether they lived in the district or not,
Mhm.
had the ability to go to school there. So it just made sense having the family.
About, you know what I'm saying, as far as BISD, you know, as far as like you hear like the questions about it. I had a teacher on last week and he spoke his opinion on it.
Well, I think historically there has been a lot of controversy. You have to look way back. There were actually two separate school districts. You had South Park Independent School District, and you had Beaumont Independent School District. South Park had an exorbitant amount of money tied to the oil and gas industry.
Yep.
They were predominantly white,
Mhm.
and BISD was cash poor and predominantly black.
Mhm.
In the 80s, a merger was determined to take place, which allowed BISD to absorb South Park
Mhm.
to what is now today Beaumont Independent School District. We have a lot of phenomenal educators. We've had great leadership at different levels, people who truly care about the kids, care about their jobs. And that's something that I don't think we should disregard. On the other side of that coin, there were people that were entrusted with finances of the district,
Mhm.
entrusted with testing of our students that violated the law and that did so um, under the radar for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it came to light, they were prosecuted. Many people were put in prison. Restitution was required among many of them. And I think that justice was served in a number of situations. Um, and as you move forward in looking back, we have to keep in mind that many employees at the district have one of the toughest jobs in our city.
Mhm.
Not only educating our youth, but educating youth who have varying levels of economic status, who may or may not have a stable home life and caring parents. They may not be in an environment that values authority or education. Uh, and as a consequence, these educators have several hours a day to be with these students, trying to not only educate them and get them ready for the real world, but also fight against um, the overall mentality and behavior that's been instilled upon them in their home life.
Mhm.
And we can't overlook that. It's a tall order. The district has a majority disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged students,
Mhm.
and so that in and of itself poses a problem. And to me, it goes deeper than our education system. You got to go back and look at the family life, and I think
Mhm.
we have to get back to that. And that's something
True.
government cannot force people to be good parents.
Yeah.
And that's what we're up against. So yes, there's been some bad over the years with the district. There's also a lot of good,
Mhm.
and I choose to advocate for the good because focusing on the bad is not going to get us anywhere. But stationary, it's not going to move us forward.
Exactly.
And to me, it's not productive.
Yeah, you know, you hear a lot of bad things, but it's a lot of good things that's going on, and you have a lot of people that are working hard past school hours that are dealing with kids, and like you said, man, a real issue is bad parenting.
Yeah,
And like I said, last week I had Eric Brooks on. He's a teacher, and he started off with just volunteering his time and became a teacher, and now he does programs. He does like the Donuts for Dads
hmm
program and stuff like that. And it does take the parents to get more involved, and I think we kind of let that slip by slowly in this community, unfortunately. But it is a lot of good people out there that's working hard behind the scenes.
yes, and they're underpaid.
Ah man, they are so underpaid. That's one of the things he spoke about. Like as far as being a teacher, you know, you're not doing it for the pay.
That's correct. You're doing it
Um,
for the passion.
but I think BISD did do a pay raise
They
or
did.
something like
They
that with
did
the
not too long
teachers
ago.
and stuff like that. So
And people may express frustration with, well, we're not getting the pay that we deserve. That very well may be true.
mhm.
But we have to look at two considerations, and this goes across any government entity, even the city of Beaumont.
Okay.
It is all based on tax dollars. You have a set budget. It's not like the private industry where you can push hard to increase revenue by selling another gadget or providing a top level service, and the people are willing to pay a premium for it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a set number of tax dollars that are at your disposal. You have to budget that.
Okay.
And with the city, with the district, you're looking at facilities budget, administrative budget, teachers budget, the cafeteria, the transportation. There's all sorts of considerations. And if we do not have more people moving in, owning homes, paying property taxes, if we don't have more businesses coming through, setting up shop, contributing to tax revenue, you're limited in your ability to make significant increases to people's pay. And I see it all the time. I saw it when my mother was a public educator, and I see it now with my aunt, who is a counselor at Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
She was at Hampshire Finette. Now she's at Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times where they've worked with little, if any, pay raise. The cost of living goes up, so it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we have to focus on what can we do to try and alleviate these issues.
Yeah.
And as I said before, there's a lot of considerations behind it, not just we deserve a raise or we need to give them a raise. Okay, well, how are we going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we get the money from? And that's the same thing with the city, with police and fire. We keep increasing their pay, rightfully so, but at some point, where are you going to get the money to keep on increasing it?
Like you said, as far as bringing jobs into the city, I know as far as the bond, one of the things that they didn't put on the bond was expanding, and we talked about this, expanding like the Dowling extension. And a lot of people were saying that would bring like a lot of jobs off that road. I mean, people were suggesting Buc-ee's, which I didn't believe in that or whatever. Some people were saying they were suggesting all kind of places that could bring into the city. But what do you think one of the issues is as far as bringing like jobs? Like, how can we make it more like attractive for companies to come out here? Because I mean, it's a refinery, industrial, heavy place and stuff like that. So,
well, you mentioned that just now, and that is we are heavily reliant on oil and gas,
mm-hmm.
and we are around that orbit, and that has been a phenomenal source of revenue for our county and city governments, as well as jobs, but it limits in terms of economic diversity and diversity in job opportunities. You have a lot of blue collar work. You don't have a lot of white collar work. And so if you're looking for a college educated population, people who are business professionals, who work in tech or other forms of business, you're going to have to be open and vigilant in identifying and recruiting small and large scale businesses that allow you to open up more options for people looking for employment.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of young people in their teens and 20s that are going to college or they've already graduated that don't come back home because they cannot find decent paying jobs outside of working shift work.
Yeah, true.
Outside of working at the police department, fire department,
mm-hmm.
or the school district. And those are all noble professions, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And if your solution is, well, then go get a job here and there's only so many jobs available.
Exactly. And not to include, I mean, also to include like the prison and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people work there too. So
yeah. And I don't want to work at a prison.
Yeah.
I don't want to do shift work.
Yeah.
I do not have that bone like so many brave men and women do in the fire and police.
mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm in healthcare. Thankfully, I'm connected enough and fortunate enough to have a corporate job here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. You talk about the place that you work at a lot in your job, like,
Yes.
and you're constantly sharing what they're doing. They're doing a lot of stuff in the community.
I work at Riceland Healthcare.
Yeah.
Locally owned and operated for 11 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Founded by Pakistani immigrants who came here in the 80s with nothing.
Okay.
They pulled their resources together as a family, worked diligently, made wise investments, and ultimately ended up in the healthcare sector. And I'm proud to be a part of that because it allows me the opportunity to support and promote a company that employs hundreds of people in Southeast Texas,
mm-hmm.
contributes tens of millions of dollars to the local economy. delivering quality healthcare services. And a lot of people think, oh, y'all just have the hospital in Winnie.
Mhm.
No, we have the medical center in Winnie, which includes a 24/7 ER, hospital behavioral health program, and clinics,
Mhm.
as well as a full service lab. But we also have clinics in Beaumont, Port Arthur, Nederland, Vidor. Um, and looking at that, we see that there's been a need, which is why we continue to expand to where we have a partnership with Outpatient Diagnostic Center, ODC, as
Mhm.
it's famously known, run by some great people. You have the Outpatient Surgery Center and Imaging Facility on 11th Street. And I'm sure there's things that I'm leaving out because there's so much. But long story short, I talk a lot about where I work because I love where I work. I
Mhm.
wouldn't be there if I didn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's one thing that that I got from you as far as you sharing all the things that they done is that you're definitely proud of where you work at. And it's nothing wrong with that. And like seeing you share that, it made me, that it educated me on what y'all was doing in the community because I was unaware of some of the things that y'all was doing. And I was like, wow, So like you said, as far as like do you think like as far as like I think Baptist is doing like an expansion also, like, but do you think like this area is like prime for like more healthcare facilities? I mean, you got Galveston,
Mhm.
you got Houston, and between Houston and let's say I don't know what's the next major medical hub. What is it? New Orleans, Baton Rouge, or something like that?
Well, you can look at the outskirts of Houston, outside of Houston proper. You have Baytown,
Mm-hmm.
for example, that's really building up and has a lot of healthcare facilities. Uh, there's Clear Lake. I mean, there's plenty. There's Fort Bend.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of activity and growth in those areas outside of Houston. But I will say that Beaumont is certainly a major hub for healthcare in Southeast Texas. Um, I do think that expansions are necessary. Baptist was fortunate enough to receive funding from the state
Mm-hmm.
to expand their behavioral health program, for example.
Okay.
With Riceland Healthcare, we are a for-profit entity, and so we do not qualify for as many of the grants or government subsidized programs to do certain expansions.
Mm-hmm.
But we, by default of our service that we provide and the volume of patients we have, it's enabling us to look at it making expansions. You'll hear about some of that in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I definitely think there is a need for greater healthcare, not only in Southeast Texas, uh, in terms of quality, but accessibility. In Southeast Texas, there are a lot of wait times for a number of facilities,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because we're limited on the number of providers. We talked earlier in this conversation about people who are college educated, professional degrees, wanting to come work in Beaumont, Southeast Texas in general. And we have a huge struggle in identifying doctors, especially specialists, to not just do a flyby once a month to come provide a service,
Yeah.
but to actually be ingrained here, live here, have a family here,
Mm-hmm.
and have clinics and work in hospitals regularly. That
Yeah.
is a struggle.
It is.
And again, that's why we try our best. I know our company at Riceland to have fair pay. We negotiate with people,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we want to recruit them to come and stay in Beaumont or through any of our facilities in Southeast Texas. And it's a work in progress, and it's something not exclusive to one industry. It's a tall order for a number of industries to identify qualified people that are, one, willing to move here, and two, that that companies can afford to pay.
Yeah, that's one thing. Because when I went back to school, to be honest with you, I went back to school for registered nurse. I was going to the Lamar Port Arthur School, and they had to have the program with the LVN and the RN. And I was looking at the difference as far as the pay because I was just looking ahead as far as like when I graduate, and I was like, wow, the pay from this area to like in Houston or Dallas was way different, which I understand. It's a bigger city. The cost of living is a little bit more, but it was something for me to think about, if I finished like as far as that degree,
Mhm.
as far as staying out here and finding a place that has fair wages is what you said, or moving a family and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people have that decision because you have Lamar, which has a great nursing program.
Yes.
Lamar State Orange.
Mhm.
I have a niece, she graduated from over there that has a great program. I mean, every college in this area has a pretty good program as from Lamar Port Arthur,
Certainly.
and stuff like that.
It's
So
competitive and it's getting better. You mentioned the nursing program. We also have the engineering
Mhm.
program at Lamar
Yes,
University.
yep.
Looking at their business school, it's all respectable, excuse me. But we have to make sure that the graduates beyond engineering, beyond certain specialties, also have an opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's not something government can dictate, but it's certainly government can encourage, incentivize, and promote.
Mhm.
And I think that's where public-private partnerships are incredibly important. And I think that we have to, and I know there have been strides to make it so, but we have to continue to move the needle in the direction of being more business friendly and work with people to make them want to invest in our area.
Mhm.
Uh, what I appreciate about a number of individuals who are working in different sectors is many of them choose to live in Beaumont.
Mhm.
They have their children either going to the public schools or private schools,
Mhm.
and they're showing that you can have a, a comfortable, decent life here in Beaumont.
Yeah.
I think people are way too negative and they jump on a bandwagon
Oh
in terms
man.
of perception.
Yes.
Uh, the way I see people comment on social media, they act like you walk out the door, you're going to get shot. I mean, there's a lot of exaggeration in that.
I gotta defend Beaumont to a lot of my coworkers who feel they don't stay in this area, but they feel like when they come to Beaumont, they have to be so tensed up on guard. And I'm like, it's not like that.
It is not. I no, and I don't want to diminish any victim's experience in
Yeah,
Beaumont,
we're not gonna do
but
that.
I want to make clear crime is everywhere. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter where you go. Look at Washington, D.C., where the White House is, the most powerful people in our country, and
Mhm.
there's still crime. Um, I think we have to remain vigilant and be cautious of danger, but not living in a way that diminishes your quality of life and the quality of life of others and their ability to progress in the city. I frequent various restaurants, I shop, I go to the movies, I own a home here.
Mhm.
Uh, I I don't fear for my life.
Yeah.
And even when I see on TV people being shot or people who have been victimized, it's concerning. But my first thought is, oh, I can't live in Beaumont. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, if a lot of people go to Houston and they go to Houston, and if you follow the news out there, it's crazy out there and
But
stuff.
they
But
overlook that.
they overlook that. But I mean, it is what it is. But it's a lot of people out here who I know that are changing the perception,
Mhm.
that are working together, and that are great influences. Who are some people that you feel, as far as community leaders, that
Mhm.
people should rally behind and
Mhm.
get to know in this area?
Well, people who are in elected office now
Mhm.
that I appreciate choosing to live in Beaumont.
Mhm.
You look at, of course, all of our council members, um, regardless of how you may feel about specific ones, they all choose to live and work in Beaumont. Um, I'm very encouraged by the interest of young people in wanting to serve their community.
Mhm.
We see people like LaDonna Sherwood and AJ Turner who are involved in business, have their own interests, but still serve their community.
Yep.
I'm very close to the two of them. They have been good friends of mine, and I appreciate the work they do. I know, and names escape me, but I see people who are my age just on social media that are working at Exxon, they're working for the Southeast Texas Food Bank or at Lamar University that have pride in their work. And you know, even with the chamber having their 40 under 40 awards,
Mhm.
you can look at a number of those people that are rooted here, invested here, and see the vision, see the potential. And so I think there's no shortage of leaders in our area, whether they're elected or not,
Mhm.
that are inspirational, motivating, and show that they can walk the talk.
Yeah, somebody named Jackie Hernandez.
Absolutely. Jackie Hernandez has been someone that has been ingrained in our community for years.
Mhm.
Was very active at Lamar University. her and a gentleman named Richard Rosario, another friend of mine,
Oh yeah, Rich. I
were
know
very
Rich.
involved
Yeah.
in advocacy for immigrants.
Mhm.
They were very much advocate proponents of DACA
Yeah.
when that was being debated before it was legislated and made into law. And Jackie's actually running for House District 21.
Yeah, she is.
And so I find that very exciting to have that
Mhm.
energetic personality with a proven track record wanting to serve their community.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me shout out Gary Senegal too, man. He's
yes.
somebody who has always been an advocate in the communities as far as stopping the violence, and he was doing something as far as they had something with the mall, as far as them walking the mall and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
and he did that for many years.
Mhm.
Worked closely, always open with the sheriff's department and the
Mhm.
police department.
Yep.
He's run for office in the past. He's also, which I appreciate, promotes a nice facility to go and grab some drinks and enjoy some good food and
Mhm. He
dance.
does.
Dorothy's over actually right there at Lamar's campus.
Yep.
And I see a lot of activity going on there, and that's the kind of support we need in the community. People willing to invest their time and resources
Mhm.
into experiences for young people. And I see not just one race, I see white and black people that show
Yeah.
up there. They have parties,
Yep.
and it's great to see. So Gary is no stranger to community service, without a doubt.
Yeah, shout out to Gary. Also, I know recently you came out. I think you was on the news. You were saying as far as the Jefferson County, uh, the Democrat Party, and you're not going to run for reelection.
Mhm.
Now, who do you think should fill that spot, and why are you not gonna run for it again?
Well, to answer the second part first,
Yeah.
I have served, or I will have served by June 2026, 2 non-consecutive terms as chairman of the Democratic Party.
How long is those terms?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
So a lot of people assume that our local parties are somehow a part of the state and national apparatus in terms of all the money that's raised by the national organizations, and that the chairs are somehow a full-time position. And that's anything but the truth. Our fundraising efforts are 100% locally based. Our operations are 100% locally based. Myself, as well as the Republican chair, yes, we are elected in countywide primaries, but we are the 2 only countywide office holders, if you will, that are not compensated for the work they do. So it is a
Yeah.
labor of love.
Okay.
We have to have full-time jobs in addition to activities with the party.
Got you.
I was first elected in 2020 at the height of the coronavirus pandemic.
Mhm.
I had just, well, I say just, I'd been out of college about a year or two. I went to the University of Texas at Austin. Upon graduating, I came back. I worked on a campaign for Nick Lampson, subsequently going to work at Riceland Healthcare. And there was an opportunity where Kate Burnson, who was the outgoing chair, was not going to seek reelection. And so I chose to step in and say, you know what, I want to give this a run, see what we can do. Thankfully, I was elected. I was 22, sworn in at 23,
Mhm.
and it was anything but easy. We did not have a headquarters secured in terms of a lease.
Oh, y'all didn't at that time?
At the time, no. We had
Okay.
no documentation assuring the county party that it would have the rights to a building.
Mm.
Our bank accounts were in the negatives. We had no infrastructure because it had been dormant for about a year and a half. There wasn't a lot of activity.
Okay.
Immediately went to work. We were able to secure a lease for the headquarters,
Which is where it is now.
which is where it is now. And
Okay.
it's actually owned by the Burnsons. Former
Okay.
State Senator Burnson and Kate Burnson provided us a very generous lease in the sense that we pay way below market value, and they
Mhm.
are very helpful with any repairs. They don't place a huge burden on the party.
Okay.
We were able to get into the black in terms of the bank accounts, raise significant resources. And that cycle, we rallied around, our sheriff, Zena Stevens, as well as Constable Javon Pollard.
Mhm.
We had Joe Deschatel that was on the ticket at that time that had an opponent. So I was very happy with the way in which that election turned out. But it was interesting just to experience that historic time where there was social distancing. We weren't able to campaign like you would traditionally campaign, knocking
Mhm.
on doors and going to events and being with people,
wearing masks and doing all that.
That was a learning curve. And then moving forward, I ended up actually resigning a few months before my term expired to run for state representative in District 22. That's different from the district that Jackie is running for. And it was a three-way race. I was the top vote getter in the primary, but I was about 170 some odd votes shy of winning outright.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
And so I ended up going into a runoff, and with our current state rep and my friend Christian Manuel, lost that by 123 votes. And it was a great learning experience, because I think that every candidate needs to know not only what it's like to win, which I know what that's like, but also what it's like to lose.
Yeah.
I think really gives you an internal fortitude necessary to continue moving forward in politics. I decided to file for party chair again. No one filed against me. And so I'm continuing with my second non-consecutive term. And in between all of that, everybody has their own opinions about what the party ought to be doing. But people need to be reminded that the party is nothing more than you and I, people watching now that identify as Democrats. There is no major apparatus. There is no boogeyman, pulling all the strings like you see in the national politics.
Yeah.
We rely on volunteers. We rely on people in the community. Oh, you don't come to my neighborhood. Okay, well, why don't you come join us and you get in your neighborhood?
You could be the representative of your neighborhood. Yeah.
It's not easy. Looking back, raising over $600,000. Doing mail ballot programs, block walks, phone banks, having to pay people, because most people expect a check than to volunteer and do their civic duty, which is a whole nother topic. I'm not getting paid, but I got to pay you to knock on a door.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different politics is from the days of my grandfather Howard, when people had a lot more pride in civic engagement, and kids, you may give them a pizza or some candy, and they'd love to go and knock on a door and talk about the importance of vote. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's been a lot of good, a lot of frustration, but it's rewarding. I would not have been able to meet the number of people that I've met had I not been in this position. I've made many friends, a few enemies.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it's been a great experience, but it's time for something new. And as far as who would be good to take on that role, I don't think it's appropriate for me to really state exactly who I think should do the role. There's people in the background that have expressed an interest, but I'm not going to jump the gun and say who they are, simply because I don't know if they fully made a decision to run. But people that file, people that choose to run, I think the party will be in good hands regardless. We are financially solvent. We have a headquarters. We have a great group of people on our executive committee that are true believers. And we have a lot of great incumbents who choose to stick with our party, believe in its values, and want to serve their community.
Somebody answered the question in the chat, but somebody wanted to know where was the headquarters, the location.
2211 Calder.
Okay.
Where it is now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
and see something else too. We have a sustaining membership fund. So being able to have a headquarters to pay the rent, to pay the utilities, ink, refreshments for events, that doesn't come from the national party, doesn't come from the state party. It comes from local people in the community. So people are actually making contributions monthly. And it's a recurring contribution to allow us to stay open. So I'm very thankful for all those that sacrifice $5, $10, $25, even $100 a month, which we have people doing.
Yeah. Hey, how was it running against your friend though? Because they, those campaigns can get a little nasty now.
It can. I think that it was nastier with people that were in our periphery.
Yes.
Than actually the two of us.
It's always the outside.
I'm a firm believer. I don't believe in coronations. So just because someone has worked in an office or worked for an incumbent, it does not give them a right to represent the people of the community. And I knew that going in. My leadership style is a bit different. The way I approach things is different. And so I felt that I had something to offer. And I know many people thought I did and still continue to believe so. And it was a great experience. And Representative Manuel has done a good job. I support him in his reelection this cycle, just like I have last cycle.
I think he just announced that he was running.
Yes, I actually attended a campaign event maybe a month or two ago at his
Mhm.
grandmother's house in Port Arthur,
Okay.
and voiced my support. And I consider him a friend, somebody that I can call upon. And I think that he does a good job representing the district. And I don't want anybody to confuse that. It's just when it came time to run, I was going to run regardless of who was running because I had it in my heart that I was going to do it.
Gotcha.
And it's good to know that I had a strong showing. It encourages me as I move forward in future elections.
Yeah. Let me shout out. I like to shout out people. Let me shout out Isaac Mouton. He helped me. Well, he was a part of. We did like a community kickback as far as
I remember.
And I was standing on the corner of Magnolia, and all of a sudden, Christian pulled up. Like he just pulled up jamming on it, and I was like, dude. I say, what you doing here? He say, oh, I'm gonna pull up, whatever. I was like, oh. So that was like my first time meeting him, and I was like, dang, he actually pulled up in the hood, and and was comfortable. And everything. So I thought, as far as like for the people, with you and him, like I was like, okay, all right, yeah.
Well, and you mentioned Isaac. He's somebody too that I know and is very active in the community, puts his own money in activities.
He does, though.
Carries himself well.
He do.
So I'm glad that again, people that I couldn't think of immediately. You mentioned Gary, Jackie, and of course,
no doubt.
These are all people that I included earlier that I think that I appreciate them putting in their time in our community.
Yeah, no doubt. And so now you're transitioning, and you made an announcement as far as running for city council.
Yes, so I do intend to run for city council at large. I do want to preface this because I know how
at large. Okay.
I know how politicos can be, especially those that always want to start mess. I am not officially a candidate. I have not filed a treasurer report. I'm not soliciting campaign contributions, and I'm not going deep into a platform until the time comes, because you have those people that are technical, and there are certain rules before you can actually actively campaign. And
why did you announce it? Like,
well, I wanted to make sure that people understood that I wasn't going anywhere. I decided to announce that I was not running for re-election on the day that filing began, to let people know that that seat was going to come open. But I didn't want to leave people hanging and think, oh, well, he's just throwing in the towel. No, I have intentions of running for city council in 2027. And when the time comes, I'll certainly be a lot more aggressive in my platform, in my plans and fundraising. But I wanted to make sure people had an idea of where I was going.
Yeah, because man, those local elections, they can get a little nasty also too.
They can, and for no reason.
I don't know why. I guess
some stuff is so petty.
Yeah.
And look, if you throw something at me, I'm not afraid to throw it back, but I'm not going to just come at you for the hell of it. You have to really have done something to me or somebody I care about to even give you the time of day. And when it comes to campaigns, I think people need to focus more on the issues they would like to solve. No politician is going to be able to solve everything, but you can at least talk about your intentions, your ideas, what you would like to do, what you would try to do, without demeaning and trashing somebody else, unless they ask for it.
Yeah. Unless they fight like that.
It's kind of like I always would tell my dad, I'm never going to throw the first punch, but I'll certainly throw the last one. So it's always about self-defense. You can't get in trouble for self-defense. And I mean that not literally, but politically. So I'm not going to come after you unless you provoke me.
Yeah. That's, telling your dad that. I already know your dad's like, yo. But as far as like running for council, we talked about this before the show, as far as like getting people to vote. Is that any concern as far as getting the young voters? Because the older crowd tends to vote. But as far as the young crowd, the people in their 20s.
Well, you would be surprised. I'm looking at the voter data. There's a lot of senior citizens that sit out on voting too. It really is mind-boggling. It's an age-old attempt. It's been tried since our parents and grandparents. Young people, and I say it, I'm 29, so I'm among young people. At least I hope people watching that are younger. Hopefully you don't think I'm too old. But,
you young.
I think it all has to do, again, we talked earlier about the district and home life. I think that's the same for political awareness, education, and involvement. I'm politically involved because my family is politically involved. It was ingrained in me. It's just like people, that grow up in very religious households and then they live their lives religiously. or people who, grow up in a military household and they end up going to the military and having pride for one of the branches that they choose to serve in.
Yes.
Influence.
Uh-huh.
Upbringing and family life is key. I think that we have to do a better job as parents and grandparents of instilling the expectation of responsibility in our communities, making sure our side of the street is cleaned up and swept. I mean that literally and metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sure way to get somebody to vote, no matter how much money you spend on advertisements, mail outs, phone calls, text messages. I have data over the last X number of years of people who we've targeted with text messages and phone calls and mail outs and knocking on their door. Same people.
Mm-hmm.
And they still don't vote, or they act like they didn't know there was an election going on.
Yeah.
So there has to be a level, I think, of self-awareness, self-responsibility. And I believe the family unit is very important for that. However your family unit looks, as long as you have a stable environment, and you have those values instilled, I think that's the only long-term sustainable way you're going to have an engaged electorate that takes their civic duty responsibly. But I will say, people are also motivated by individuals running for office. If they can trust them, if they relate to them, if they feel that they are sharp and know what they're talking about and level with them, I think that can help with voter turnout. And we have seen that from time to time for individual candidates that are able to get the vote out among different constituencies that may not turn out otherwise.
Amy said you got to find them. She put up emoji laughing.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But then you'll have people out there just recklessly voting for, like, they just like, I don't know, I'm gonna pick this pap and vote. And now
you got some people that get out there and vote, I'm going to vote for the underdog, or I'm going to vote for the person that I've never heard of because I don't like the person that I've heard of. And I'm like, okay, waste your vote then.
Yeah.
But we have to be a lot more, we have to look at nuance and we have to look at big picture. And we have to recognize, I certainly remind myself of this, no candidate is perfect. There are people that look at me and they cannot stand me. I'm not
liberal like that
enough. I'm not conservative enough.
You're not liberal enough? Wow.
So you're never going to make people happy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to get past this purity test for every single candidate. We just need people that are accessible, that can be responsive, that show up and can at least point to things that they've done to make a difference. I think so often people in city and county government sit in offices, but nobody in the electorate at large can tell you what they've done since being in office. And I think that's there's one of two reasons for that. One, they don't have a good team, or they don't know how to get that message out of what they've done, or two, they really haven't done much and they're just getting a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's two considerations.
A while back, I reached out to a particular councilman and I was like you said, with a team, like as far as council member, I think council members should have like a team as far as a group of people that can kind of help them with like issues, because sometimes there's a lot on the plate. You working, you're doing a council job and stuff like that. And I think you need people that's like, that can, bring issues to you that's concerning the citizens within that ward, and stuff like that. So
something, and I touched on this before we went live, a lot of people assume that the mayor and city council have broad authority.
Yes.
But their power is limited by city charter.
Mm-hmm.
For people that are watching that are in Beaumont, we are a council manager style of government. The city manager holds an imbalanced amount of power over city administration, the day-to-day operations, and ultimately how the city responds to issues. City council members have broad authority over approving the budget, city ordinances, proclamations, appointing people to different committees, and of course, all the ceremonial stuff, the pomp and circumstance of speaking at events, acknowledging people, giving out keys to the city, photo ops, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I believe that there needs to be reform in our city charter that provides more authority for city council members to be able to speak directly to department heads. Right now, they have to go through the city manager for requests or to get information. So you have to go through a gatekeeper. As a duly elected official, I have to go through bureaucracy to represent my constituents. And I think that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, City council is very limited in their ability to request information, investigate, and even overturn administrative decisions that may not be in the best interest of the public or an employee. Um, City council does not appoint or have oversight over the majority of department heads. Right now, the city council can select and remove the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney. When you look at department heads, with the exception, I think of there may be more than one, but since in recent time the city council was able to reject the recommendation by the city manager for who initially they wanted as a police chief. I don't understand why the council cannot do that for all department heads, not
Mhm.
just some department heads. And I think that power needs to be expanded. Don't get me wrong. I see the value in having professionals operate the day-to-day activities of the city. I think we need a city manager. We need staff, but council members should have more authority in making inquiries, in reviewing city policy, and demanding answers. Because you may ask the city manager for information as a council member,
Mhm.
but he has control over what information you receive and how deep it is.
Mm.
That's a problem for me. I think we need to update that, which will require a majority of city council members to approve a measure to go to the voters for an election, and the voters can then vote based on those recommended changes that council makes. And I think that is something worth visiting. And I know a number of council members are open to that as well.
Um, uh, uh, One council member that you said that you was particularly proud of is AJ, and he is also at large, and you're going to be running at large. So,
Well,
uh,
you get the choice of two at larges,
exactly.
and AJ Turner is not going to seek reelection for at large.
Did we need to put that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he's made that known. He
Oh,
has his
okay.
own considerations and things that he's doing. He's very busy in business.
Hmm.
Very, has a great family and has a lot of opportunities in front of him. And what he chooses to do,
Okay.
he will have my full support
No doubt.
in his life. And I think that what he has done is commendable. Um, for example, he has pushed for evaluations of city administration,
Mm.
making sure that we can actually evaluate the work done by department heads, the city manager, the city attorney. That's something that has not been done in years. And I think council ought to be able to review the work done by people that they entrust with the day to day operations of the city. Um, AJ is also very effective at social media and getting information out. He is very educated on city policies, city charter. When he travels to different conventions related to the city, he's always trying to take in what are other cities doing that we're not, that we should do,
Hmm.
and where can we make improvements. Um, and so seeing him on council has motivated me to want to be on council. Um, and of course, that's not going to change, but I just want to make sure people understand that with city government,
Hmm.
your council members do not have carte blanche over all decisions made with the city. So if you have an issue that you lodge to a council member of the mayor, they got to go through the city manager and make the inquiry, and then rely on the city manager and the bureaucracy of it all to identify a solution, if a solution is to be had.
Got you.
So I just, we're not like Houston. They see the Houston mayor always in the news. And
Hmm.
there are some cities that have a mayor council form of government. We are one that has as I mentioned, a council city or however you want to phrase it, style of government. And so council members are limited. And I would like to see some of that changed.
A disconnect. I was going to ask that question, but a disconnect between the voters and I guess as far as the people running. Tommy Perkins said candidates only show up in public viewings, such as churches and public gatherings, only during election time. And I've been kind of boisterous of that as far as people running for office, and during those particular times you see them doing stuff for the community, and they're tagging people, and they're saying I'm doing this and doing that, but that's the only time we see them is during election time, so that turns off a lot of voters. I'm not saying this is the case where as far as like as far as you running, but we see that a lot, and I think that's the disconnect a lot of people have.
Well, it's a fair criticism. I think that once someone gets elected, we are also caught up in carrying out the duties of the role itself. Invited to numerous events, activities, and I know a lot of people that do attend a lot of various activities and events, but you can't make them all.
Yeah.
And I think that oftentimes a lot of people, unfortunately, don't pay attention to people running for office until it is election time themselves.
That is true.
And they forget about the people they put in office and to make sure they check in on them to see, hey, what's going on? And are they really doing what you voted them to do?
Yeah.
But there are certainly elected officials that do not show up to a lot of stuff. There's others that do. I think a big thing. I wish that people would make more use of social media that are in elected office.
I tried to get one particular councilman to do that, but I got shown the way a while back.
Well, I mean, people have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And I even have that in my head. Sometimes I go to functions and events and I said, oh, I didn't post about it or I didn't take a picture.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have that mode of, well, then they're not going to, but then it's just it's a constant struggle because you want to be able to go places and do things without making it campaign related or without having to have a photo opportunity.
Yeah. You kind of want it to be organic.
I think too, it depends on the type of role you have. So if you are a countywide elected official, much of your job, let's take Sheriff Zena Stevens, for example. She oversees hundreds of employees, is constantly dealing with inmate-related issues related to her deputies out in the community, lawsuits, personnel issues, public complaints, a budget. So whenever you're doing a job 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you kind of just want to go home and chill or take a break.
Yeah, because
not, show up to certain things on a Saturday or Sunday. But then on the flip side of that, you have people that have roles that are not that intensive, like city council, like school board, that I think have more time, and rightfully so, to be more front facing and out in the community regularly. It's all nuance. It's a lot of, I know I'm probably talking too much about it, but that's the kind of thinker I am.
Yeah.
I say what I think, and sometimes it's a straight line. Other times it's a zigzag.
Yeah. Because, because city council, they don't get paid. The mayor don't get paid that much. The city councilman don't get paid
little to nothing.
It's not that much. It's not that much at all. And, like you said, most council members have a job. So like you said, if you're working like 45 to 60 hours a week, like that weekend or whatever, you kind of just want to kind of relax and stuff.
Yeah. So, with council now, and I kind of, in an ideal world, you would have a city government that has duly elected city council members and a mayor working full time. They have the same structure as county commissioners, court, and the county judge.
Yes.
They have their salary. They have their benefits. But all of that is tied to carrying out the job and executing the duties 40 hours a week minimum. But in practice, again, I said ideally, in practice, we have council members who are either retired or have full-time jobs. And so to make that leap and try to change that, which I think would require voter approval, you'd have people who would probably not be able to be in the position anymore because they don't want to give up their job. I mean, I have a job I enjoy. It would be a bit of a struggle for me to leave a job I enjoy. And because in order to be elected, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I understand that city manager style of government where they're the ones that handle the day to day. But I certainly think that, as I mentioned before, people's criticisms are fair. I just want to make sure they're armed with all the facts and know that if they want to see changes, sometimes they have to push for those changes through a vote, like charter changes, if they want their city council members more involved. Otherwise, their hands are tied.
Yeah, and that's particularly like the bigger cities that, as far as like the council members and the mayor getting paid with livable wages.
Yes.
Because it's like under like 20 17,000 or so. It's low.
It's 20 or less.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want to say. Like, as Brandon Johnson, as far as when I said a team, I didn't mean like for them to pay the team. It's almost like a nonprofit. You're not really paying the people on your board and stuff. They're there to help contribute for a greater cause. And that's what I meant to clarify when he said, as far as council members don't get paid enough for the team and stuff like that. But as far as you're running, what do you think we need to improve? Because what's your reason for running?
Well, whenever I was looking at what I wanted to do next, I wanted to be able to do something that would provide me a level of authority and ability to make a direct impact in my city. Not only as a taxpayer myself and homeowner, but someone who has family and friends here and who wants to see this community thrive. And I think that the most direct impact you can make is being on city council. City council members have the ability to shape how a budget is structured, where money goes, what the city's priorities are, and weave in those recommendations based on the perspective and consent of those that elected them. So being able to hear from people about their flooding and drainage issues, their concerns for their family's future, the quality of their roads, the desire to see better parks or a revived community in terms of business and nightlife. All of those things you're able to take into consideration and apply with your vote on council to give the city direction on where the money's going, what the priorities are, not only for the next budget cycle, but you can do a 5, 10, 15-year plan. And my hope is that people that are in elected office hold firm to it.
Yeah.
I have already mentioned my desire to see charter changes, some amendments made to the charter. That is something that I will push, and it's something that I'll advocate for. I am pleased with at least one of the bond propositions having passed, Proposition A, approximately $253 million that will be focused on streets, sidewalks, drainage. But bear in mind, all of that's not going to happen overnight. No. So it may have been passed this year, but you may not really start getting into loosening up some of those funds until mid to late 2026. And then I'm looking to run in 2027. That money's largely still going to be there.
Okay.
So I want to have the opportunity to contribute with oversight to make sure that what voters paid for and approved with their vote is actually executed, and that it's done in a timely manner. I want to see specific timelines. I want to see a review of the quality of the work done by the contractors that carry out the construction activities, so that I can then provide information to the voter. Because if we have an effective bond rollout and we can point to its success and its quality, I think that will change the viewpoint of a number of voters in Beaumont who are very skeptical about city government and trusting the institution with their money. And that's why I think in a way we saw a number of the bond propositions fail.
What's one bond proposition that you wish passed?
I was a firm supporter, and I don't remember the exact alphabetical, which if it was B or C, but I did support the facilities one with the new police department.
Okay, yeah.
The new fire station, the new animal shelter, the sports complex.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm missing anything on that, but I thought that those things were reasonable. I thought those were great.
Was the downtown River Park thing in that bond?
No, that was a separate item.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, I thought as far as a new police station and fire station, I thought that was gonna.
Well, and you saw people who said, "Oh, well, I'm so frustrated that why did they put all these items together?" Well, first of all,
yeah, explain
the way that bonds operate. You get a better financial term, interest rate, overall agreement when you're able to bundle items together that relate to one another. So if you have infrastructure with streets and drainage, or if you have facilities like what I just mentioned, or you have parks, there's a reason behind that madness. What I just mentioned, as well as the fact that all cities who roll out bonds pair different items together in one bond proposition.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes more sense. And you had a number of people who shot it down because they didn't like the idea of um, a complex being built at, I believe it was Alice Keith Park.
Yeah, that was crazy though.
And so, and I think it was I don't remember the exact wording. I know it would have opened up community centers to be rented out,
Mm-hmm.
different sports activities.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so they said, okay, I like part of this bond, but I'm going to shoot it down because I don't like this part. And I'm not a person that has an all or nothing to my liking mentality. I try to see the bigger picture. I try to see nuance, and I try to see, look, I may not like this part, but I like these other parts. And on the whole, it's something I can live with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but can you imagine having a ballot measure? I mean, first of all, people were already struggling enough
Yes.
with the statewide constitutional amendments.
Yeah.
And you want to have every single item and every part of the bond on that ballot.
Yeah.
That's inefficient. And why?
Yeah.
It makes sense to pair different things together that relate in some way.
Yeah, because when we went and voted, my wife thought it was just going to be on the bond things, and I was like, nah. I was like, no, you got state stuff you got to vote for and everything, and she was a little confused on that. So just imagine, like you said, having all those different things on the bond proposition to vote for, and then you have the
and
state.
Let me tell you, I know people.
Yeah,
I know how everyday people are. They go and vote. If their eyes start glazing over or they're looking down this long ballot, people are going to skip stuff. I guarantee.
Without a doubt, they're going to skip
guarantee you.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things to take into consideration when you're rolling out bonds, different propositions. And people, Google is your friend. Do research. Why do municipalities pair multiple projects under one bond proposition?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good information out there that justifies why the city did what they did.
Now, as far as the council, I think as far as what we see on social media is no unity as far as what they be posting, and you see the controversy within groups of people, and you're gonna join that. So how can you rectify that? Because from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, they're fighting between each other. Like, how can we have our elected leaders fight with each other and lead at the same time?
And that is a fair issue to bring up. To me, I think there is value in having closed door discussions. I have the temperament where I can go into a discussion with colleagues of mine and it doesn't have to leave that room. Because ultimately, we don't need to litigate every single thing on social media that's discussed.
Yeah, but you have that. You have that in you. But can you trust the next man that you're talking to keep that within?
I think what this has done, people show their hand. They show how they are, and they show how they operate. And you have to address them accordingly. If you know there are people that may turn against you at any moment, trash you, share private communications, then you know to address them accordingly. You approach with caution, and you don't put anything in writing or mention anything in private that you would have an issue being public.
Yeah.
So that's how people do in their own personal lives.
It is kind of grimy though.
It is, but that's politics.
Yeah.
That is the part of the machine that makes the sausage that people don't like to talk about or acknowledge.
I like that though.
It's dirty. It can be bloody.
Mhm.
There can be jam ups. There is a requirement to kind of really massage different things to get the results you want. Is that something that I knew out the gate when I got into politics at 22? No. But I've learned it in the 7 or so years that I've been involved politically in the city.
Mhm.
But I'm a firm believer in extending a hand of friendship rather than a fist in anger out the gate.
Gotcha.
If people choose to be combative, to be distrustful, that is on them. It's not on my conscience. It's not on my side of the street. And while I'm respectful, I am direct. And so if there has to be a conversation where something is violated or a boundary has been crossed, then we'll have that conversation. And we can have that publicly or behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You're also going to have a lot of people playing games.
It's a lot of games being played.
There are going to be people, and I'm not saying this is the existing council. I'm not singling out any specific person, but in general, people are always looking at how can they get the majority vote on council to get an agenda pushed.
Yeah.
Who can they control that's coming into council?
Yeah, for sure.
You got to look at people's relationships and who they're tied to. And if they are somebody's puppet, if they have strings that are being pulled by wealthy benefactors or power players, that's not just something you see
on TV.
On TV, like Scandal.
No doubt. Hey, my wife loves Scandal.
We may not have Olivia Pope style issues like in DC. It's not that intense.
Yeah,
but we have a watered down version of that
for sure.
And so, with how I deal with it is how I mentioned. I approach things respectfully. I know how to approach you based on how I've observed you behave in office. But ultimately, I'm going to stand firm. I'm going to advocate for the issues that I think matter to the people that put me in office. And I'm not afraid of compromise. I'm not afraid of admitting if I've been incorrect or wrong on something. Unfortunately, that's not the case with a lot of people.
Yeah, because that's what I think. I don't think people are willing to compromise, because I feel like, let's just say like on streets and drainage, like if your particular neighborhood is good or whatever, and these funds need to be allocated to the South Park neighborhood or the North End neighborhood and stuff like that, then I mean, hey, like, let's compromise. Let's build the best Beaumont, not just one particular side. I think a lot of people out there are singing that they're thinking that one particular side of Beaumont is getting like the streets fixed and everything's getting catered for. And it's not a compromise going on with that.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with approaching things equitably. For example, the city has a program that has been, I think, relatively successful in dealing with streets and drainage.
Okay.
There have been historic amounts of money that have been voted on in the last few years that are dedicated towards infrastructure issues. Any of the council members would tell you that there was one budget cycle where I think there was I know it was in the double digits, millions, more than 10 million dedicated in one budget cycle to infrastructure, like streets. That had been the most that had been allocated, I don't know if ever, but certainly in many years. So there has been progress made, but I think we have to do a good job of recognizing that just because there's a dollar amount on paper does not mean that's the end. You have to oversee the projects, make sure that there is a timeline, an expected date to be completed, review the quality of the work that has been done by the contractors, by the people that placed bids, and see it to completion. So we can't just celebrate money being allocated. We got to make sure the job is done and it's done well. And so that's another thing. There are a number of initiatives that have been initiated by former councils that I'm not going to lay claim to, but if I'm fortunate enough to be in that position, I want to make sure that the job is done and we follow through with it and we continue those priorities. Streets and drainage, as I mentioned, is a big thing that a lot of people talk about. There is a citywide, and let me see real quick because I took a note of it. There is a that's what I was mentioning. It's a ditching and drainage operation currently in place, as well as continued investments to the streets. There's also been a focus on being in real time, being able to go online and see which street tops have been replaced, repaired.
Oh,
And I
you
think
can
that
you can see that online?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And I think that's a phenomenal idea. But I would like to see the city go a step further and actually place on there the estimated amount of time it's going to take for each project to come to completion,
Mhm.
and put the date when that project is completed as well. And I think the city, if they're not already doing it, needs to make sure that they are periodically checking the work that's been done by people that we contract with, or
Mm.
people that actually work in the city. Because I know there are city staff that also perform some functions,
Mhm.
to make sure that it's holding up. Um,
What's
that's
the
a big thing.
what's the app that they have where you can kind of voice your concern?
311.
311.
It's a
Now,
great app.
yeah. Now
Phenomenal.
I know a lot of people were saying as far as like the response on it was kind of slow, or I know people say they kind of tried to use the app and the
Well,
response
and
was kind of
see if they feel that something has been inefficient, that is their opportunity to speak to a council member, and the council member needs to then direct that to the city manager.
Mhm.
And that's how the system is. I mentioned how I wanted to see some changes. I think a council member should be able to go directly to a department head,
Mhm.
make an inquiry, ask for information without having to go through this bureaucratic funnel.
Yeah.
But as it stands right now, you need to go to your council member to express that frustration, and make sure you provide as much detailed information as possible. When did you submit the work order or the request for assistance? How long did it take to get a response? And since the response, has anything been done?
Mhm.
So that they know where to start and know exactly what to talk about.
Yeah, I think you'll be great for city council. The only thing, and I think like as far as you reaching your hand across the aisle, if there is an aisle, um, but like I said, we just see so much Facebook tagging and division within the council, and I don't think it's a good look. I think it's more of a popularity thing,
Yeah.
and I think it doesn't hurt. I think it hurts, as far as the city more than anything.
Well, and I will say, the existing council as it stands, I have a very good working relationship uh, with LaDonna and AJ. Chris Durio has known my family for a number of years. He was a fireman. Of course, my family being in first responders as well,
Hmm.
you tend to get to know each other over time.
Yep.
Mike Williams, I got to know
I know Mike.
when he first ran for office, but his wife's mother actually served on the school board
Hmm.
with my grandfather. So our families have a history,
Okay.
and I've always had respectful interactions with them.
Yeah.
Joey Hilliard, I've gotten to know a little more. I've seen him. Um, I don't have any concerns about working with him. Roy West, I've known for a few years now, always been respectful. Corey Crenshaw, I haven't had any direct issues with him.
Hmm.
I may disagree with the way he goes about certain things, but he
Hmm.
has been someone that has been incredibly respectful to members of my family. He's been helpful to my brother. He has um, known my dad for a number of years. So I'm not concerned about that dynamic. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of going in and working with people that are already there, assuming they will be there after the 2027 election cycle.
Hmm.
Hope I didn't miss anybody.
No, I mean you got Roy West, you got AJ, you got LaDonna, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You said in 2027. So, how would you? I mean, beyond 2027. And before we wrap this up, where do you see Beaumont in the next 5 years? Because you said those funds will probably start in 2026. You run for 2027, and then you kind of got to continue that on.
I think that the most immediate changes we will see in the next 5 years is the implementation of Proposition A
Hmm.
that passed within that time period. My hope is certainly that we will have seen some work done in advance of a 5-year end date.
Hmm.
I believe that we will see a charter amendment election
Hmm.
to provide council more authority and input in city government. Within that 5 years, I certainly hope to see new business. And it's not going to
Yeah,
be
man.
huge. It's not going to be anything that is just going to blow us out the gate and bring 2,000 new full-time worker. I'm not
I
I'm not going to lie to people and reach for the stars and tell you I'm going to single-handedly bring Amazon here. We're going to have Elon Musk come through.
Yeah,
that's great.
A Buc-ee's.
I mean, I certainly think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible to have big ideas and achieve them.
Mhm.
But as a council, I think collectively they need to work together to try and maybe get one or two big fish or medium-sized fish.
That's all you got to start is
and
with
figure
like,
out how to open the communication, get through the door, have a conversation, see what they would like to see from city government, let them know what we would like to see for our people on our end, like local hiring requirements.
I like that.
And building in, somewhere that needs economic development. That's more realistic for me. And I certainly want to be someone that is a friend to small, medium, and large businesses, that is open to meeting people where they are. If I have to fly out somewhere out of state, I'll do it.
That's what we need, though.
I would love. So realistically, the bond, I would like to see changes to the charter. And of course, try to have some track record, some long-term project within that time frame that delivers us a new entity or entities to come through, invest money, and hire locally. And I don't think that's impossible.
No.
It may be a business that employs 50 new people, but it's something that I think is realistic in a 5-year period.
Yeah. Okay, man. Hey, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you. I know we could keep going, man, and the comments is going, they're going crazy up in there.
Well, and I talk more about stuff, but I don't want to roll out everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm technically officially not a candidate,
no doubt,
and I don't want to give all my ideas out.
No, we can't do that. When the proper time comes, I will hit you up again to see if you're ready to finally reveal, what I'm saying, as far as the campaign and what's going on and stuff like that. But I appreciate you coming on, man, and chopping it up with me, man. Anything you want to leave the people before we get up out of here?
Just don't give up hope.
Yeah.
I know that it can be frustrating. You see what's going on nationally, statewide, let alone locally. But you have a place, you have your own sphere of influence. I tell people this all the time. We may not be all multimillionaires and have a name that's known across the community or, a network that would make the president blush, but we have our vote, we have our tax dollars, we have our friends and family, and collectively, you can make a difference in influencing people to vote for better candidates, to support better policies and ideas, and to contribute to a city that you know and love, that you want to see it grow. Give yourself some credit.
No doubt. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody that was watching the podcast. Like I said, we're on YouTube, and if you miss anything, and if you driving and you want to listen to it, we on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those good things and stuff like that, man. I appreciate you, Joseph, for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, man. We gonna see y'all next Friday. Until then, man, y'all be safe out there, and God bless.